Hi, friends. I wrote a blog post yesterday, I think it was, about how I was going to start a series on what it's really like to be a breeder. The good, bad, and the ugly. And um, so we're going to start tonight with bad, because something really unpleasant happened. It's not uncommon for breeders to go through this, but it is very sad when you have really high emotions like I do. And I've learned to grow some pretty thick skin over the years in having to deal with these kinds of things. But it's the hardest part of being a breeder, and that is to watch a kitten die. Our latest litter, there was actually two litters born within 24 hours of each other, and they each had three. And the first mother wasn't taking proper care of her three kittens, and so I put those with the other three kittens, and the mother scooped them right up and was taking great care of them. They're about a week old right now, if that. I'll have to look. It might be like 5 or 6 days. And I noticed one was a little bit quiet today, and then a little later, that kitten was moved away from the other kittens. And I picked it up, and it was a little bit cool to the touch, not cold, not dangerously cool, but definitely struggling. So I set up my incubator, heating pad, breathing apparatuses, the whole 9 yards, and got it all set up and put the kitten in there and warmed it. And I could tell it was having difficulty breathing. So I have tons of equipment here and supplies. Every breeder needs to have just everything possible on hand. And this particular device, a small tube goes down the throat to the bronchioles, and using another tube in my mouth, I suction out fluids that are there that shouldn't be there. And what came out was blood. And I suctioned 4 different times trying to get the fluids out so that the kitten could breathe. And it was just not enough and too late. I don't know what caused it. Before I did anything, I gave it antibiotics, but that was even too late. Whatever it was set in very quickly and took the kitten very quickly, from start to finish, probably an hour and a half. Very tiny, sweet kitten, and so small that it could curl up in the palm of one hand. Just heartbreaking. It looked just like its father. I'm pretty sure it was a female, but that wasn't my concern. My concern was trying to save that baby, and I failed. So it's hard not to take it personally. I could have done this, I should have done that. A million things go through your head when something is going wrong. And but the reality is that things go wrong, and sometimes it's congenital, and you have no way of knowing it. You just don't. It can pick up a bacteria from a mama cat, or even from me. If I were to touch a cat that had a bacteria on it and touch a kitten, it could easily become infected. But I'm very careful about that. I sterilize my hands before I touch any kittens. Anyway, so yeah, that was hard. What I do after a kitten passes is I pray over it, and I dress it in a really soft blanket, and then I prepare it for its its burial. So that's what happened. A little bit of a tough evening, but I'll get past it. I always do. And I have other kittens I need to care for, and life goes on. As a breeder, this is part of it. And if you're thinking about going into breeding or just starting out, know that this is part of it. I had my sweet mom living with me for a while, and she was always present when there were kittens born and when kittens would die, and she was so emotional. She would just like sob and sob and sob, and it got to the point where I couldn't let her in the nursery anymore because it was just too hard for her, and made it much harder for me. I have to stay really level-headed when this stuff's hitting the fan, and so yeah. Think really carefully before you go into this as a hobby or profession or whatever it is you're thinking about doing, because this is part of the reality of it. It's hard. All right, prayers for that little tiny kitten. Thanks for listening, guys.